is Arunava Chaudhuri and you are on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. The 2025 edition of the Kalinga Super Cup is now history. FC Goa have beaten Jamshedpur FC in the final and the first team to win the Super Cup twice in the history of the competition. Now, looking forward, what could happen to the Super Cup? And I want to try and answer or give some suggestions in regard to what could be the future structure of the Kalinga Super Cup. We've heard that officials from the government of Odisha spoke positively about the tournament, that they want to host it also in the future. So how can you potentially incorporate that into the competition? Keep naming it Kalinga Super Cup, but you have to make a few changes. The first positive this season which I found is the tournament took place. I think in early mid-March, there might have been a few days where people might have thought, will the tournament actually factually take place? It was held as a clean knockout competition, a little more than 2 weeks, 15 teams taking part, one of course opting out, and Churchill Brothers as we know. But the main thing is, it was a clean knockout. It wasn't a group stage come knockout competition, which we've seen very often. 16 teams, 4 groups of 4, and the top teams qualify for the knockout quarterfinals, semifinals, and final. Now, why do I think it's better? Because in a straight knockout, for the smaller teams, it is a bigger chance and a bigger opportunity to beat a bigger team and reach the next round. And I take Germany as an example, as a current example, because Arminia Bielefeld as a third division club, as a Dritte Liga club, are actually in the final of the German Cup. So that is more likely to happen if you have a clean knockout competition instead of a league come knockout competition. So that is one. 16 teams, is it enough? Because that means 13 or 14 ISL teams and the rest is filled up from the I-League. I honestly do not think so. I would try and increase it to 32 teams, to increase it in such a way that I not only have teams from the ISL, but also from the I-League, and depending on the number of slots which are still open, fill it up with teams from I-League 2. And that way, you try and even it out. And also what you would do is when you do the draw of lots, keep the ISL teams in one lot, keep the rest in the other, and whoever gets an ISL team is allowed to play at home. So if an I-League team, I-League 2 team face an ISL team, they would have home advantage. Again, that's something that we have here in Germany. I know that, for example, in England, Spain, you don't have that, but I feel that gives a little bit of a small advantage, at least, to the smaller team because they can host the bigger team. On the other side, the rest of the teams would also be drawn against each other. And again, whoever is the smaller team, they have the right to play at home. One leg. I know a lot of people love the old English concept of home and away. No. Or Champions League. No. Clean, one-off match, one game, win it or lose it. Round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals. And then, if we want to keep it as the Kalinga Super Cup, maybe hold the semi-finals and the final within a week in Odisha. That way, you would keep the government of Odisha happy and the AIFF could save some money and maybe even get a little bit of support from the government of Odisha by calling it Kalinga Super Cup. Or if they say, listen, 3 or 4 games is not good enough because 2 semi-finals, I would have a third place playoff and a final as well. Do it like the AFC Elite, AFC Champions League Elite, I should rather say, and play the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and final in Odisha. It's a question because that could be played within a 8 to 10 day window. You could have it The quarterfinals on a Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe the semis. On Sunday, maybe the final. Or if you want to shorten it, Saturday, Sunday, quarters, semi-finals on a Wednesday, final on a Sunday. I think that might be a Super Cup with which a lot of people can live with. And maybe you play that Super Cup final week, that Kalinga Super Cup final week, in between the ISL league stage and the end in regard to the ISL playoffs. So to say also that all the teams are still in competition and don't have a break, which is also the case then for most of the teams in I-League 2 and in the I-League. I hope I have explained it in a sensible way and you've understood it, but this would be what I would try and do with the Kalinga Super Cup, because you have to find a compromise as well. But I think 32 teams and the latter stages of the competition in Bhubaneswar make Bhubaneswar the home of the Kalinga Super Cup. Why not? What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? I've got some other different viewpoints. Write those down in the comments below. And as always, like, share and subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com. And I'll be back very soon. Arunava Chaudhuri signing off.